Hi guys, I've got to talk to you about this. I have to talk to you about this because it drives me absolutely bananas. We've all been in the pub, we've all been out and about, and look, I love a healthy discussion about 9/11 conspiracy theories and all of that kind of stuff. I do. I adore it. But the one thing that gets me the most angry and the one that drives me the most batshit crazy is the one about Building 7. You've heard it before, haven't you? We've all heard it. Remember Building 7. The truth about Building 7. Building 7 is the smoking gun that proves that the whole thing was a conspiracy. We all know it, but it isn't. And here's my top 5 reasons why. The number 1 reason is the noise. The noise. I remember watching the video. I remember watching it live all day. And there was never any kind of idea that there was this massive explosion just before Building 7 fell down. It fell down. And then forget that, forget my interpretation. Let's just look at some of the video from that day, right here. Do you hear an explosion before Building 7 actually falls down? Do you hear one here? How about now? I, did you hear one? I didn't hear one. Did you? I didn't hear one. An explosion, in order to detonate a building that size, even if it was just one critical column, forget about the controlled demolition they talk about, would be in the region of 130 decibels. That would have been heard over half a mile away from that particular centre. So, the noise. If you didn't hear an explosion, chances are there wasn't an explosion. Number 2 reason, the fires. There is literally hundreds of hours of video of these buildings burning merrily. And not just like small fires like the 9/11 truthers like to claim. They always show those sort of bottom floors there with a few flames sticking out of a few random windows. But on the other side of the building, on the far side of the building, the fires were raging, and there's plenty of tape of that to show you that the fires were actually burning really merrily on multiple floors. Like, I think it was 4 and 5, and then 15 through 20, and then a few more at the top. A lot of heavy fires. And raging fires. Fires burning with wood and paper and plastic and carpets and chemicals and all kinds of other things mixing in to make these massive 1,000-degree fires that were slowly but surely weakening the steel frame of that building. It only takes 1 or 2 small areas of collapse for the whole thing to fail. The building was built in a really odd asymmetrical way. And look, all it takes is for the fire to expand the steel enough, let's say over 2 or 3 hours, and the steel expands inside one of its joists, and that begins to fail, and it gets hotter and hotter. It doesn't have to bend, it doesn't have to sag, but eventually those joints are going to break where the beams meet inside the building. Eventually something's going to give, and if it just takes one of those things, maybe 2, without a redundancy, to fail and collapse, then the whole building will suffer, as they call it in the report, a global collapse. So the fires are a perfectly adequate explanation. There is no need to add the superfluous explanation of explosives in the building. We have an explanation as to why the building fell, and it's quite clear. Number 3 reason, no water. Right, another big problem with fire. I don't know if you guys out there are aware of this, but water beats fire. Now, the entire sprinkler system was damaged. There was some sprinkler activity on the upper floors. That, of course, is true because the upper floors are fed by tanks in the ceiling. But once they ran dry, there was no more sprinkler system. The lower floors and the main sprinkler system backup would have been fed by the city pipes. And the city pipes had been severed by, well, there was this other small event going on next door to Building 7 that day. I can't remember what it was, but there was this other mass casualty event happening right next door, which may have disrupted the water supply to the building. No water, big fire. The next reason, number 4, the video. There's video evidence. You don't need to take my word for it. You don't need to watch this video. You don't need to do any of that bullshit. All you need to do is watch the video of the collapse from start to finish, which I'm going to put here. But you're going to see that the penthouse collapses way before the rest of the building, and if you look closely, you can even see the interior of the building failing through the windows. And then all you're left with is the outside exterior square, which of course can no longer support its own weight because it no longer has the structural integrity to do so. And that is why the building falls down flat. It appears momentarily to be in free fall speed, but it is not anywhere near free fall speed. In fact, the building never actually reaches free fall. It does fall very quickly from that point on, but the collapse cannot be started, the stopwatch cannot be started from the moment that the building starts to fall. You can see the collapse progressively happen throughout the building before it collapses. So don't take my word for it. Watch the video, and I'll link you to a couple of websites like NIST, which will show you the video evidence and also their computer simulation, which, by the way, before any truthers jump on me, is the most detailed computer simulation of a collapse that has ever been created by man. So if you think that you've got one that's slightly better or your model is different, well, I'd love to see it. But until you have one that is more detailed and more accurate than the one that has been produced at the cost of millions of dollars by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, then I'm probably going to take their word for it. And the final reason, the number one reason for not buying into that whole 9/11 smoking gun building 7 thing is the logic. It doesn't make any logical sense. This is the argument. No steel frame structure has ever collapsed due to fire, therefore building 7 could not have collapsed due to fire. But that's like saying if there were two car accidents happening and one of the cars hit the tree and exploded and the person inside it died, and in the same accident another person hit the tree and it didn't explode and it walked away, the first accident must be fake because cars are not designed to explode when they hit trees. Of course they're not designed to explode when they hit trees, but sometimes, on rare occasions, they do. This is what happens. There are millions of different factors, millions of different things affecting millions of different events, and you cannot legislate or decide by arbitrarily which ones are going to act in one way and which ones are going to act in another. We had uncontrolled fires burning over multiple floors in a building for over 7 hours. Also, the fire department were rather occupied with 9/11 happening right next door. They had mass casualty event, a whole bunch of their guys had just been killed. All they wanted to do was save lives. They weren't interested in fighting any fires. So the building, of course, was not just a steel frame structure that was burning with firemen working on it, with a sprinkler system that was trying to put it out, that was trying to save it. This was a building that had basically just been left to rack and ruin. And eventually, after 7 hours of continuous burning, it failed. So thanks very much for watching my video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it or it made you rage. Either way, it's a win for me. I would really like to hear what you think. So please comment in the section below. Let me know what you thought. Tell me about why you think 9/11 was a conspiracy, what evidence you have to present, and I'd really like to have a conversation with you about it. It's obviously part of a broader subject on conspiracy theories, cognitive dissonance, how human beings think, all of that kind of stuff. So quite happy to have a broad discussion about it. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you hated the video, please give it a thumbs down. And if you liked me or hate me, please subscribe, and I will either make you laugh or enrage you once a week with more videos on not just conspiracy theories. We cover a lot of different topics, but conspiracy theories is one of my favorites. So like I said, like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. And please don't forget, I'm an Illuminati shill forever. Love you.